All right, here's the Unit 7 study guide for exponents and polynomials. How many factors are in the expression? If you simplify this, we have the same base, so 5, and then we do not have a power to a power, so we just add our exponents. So 4 plus 2, so 5 to the 6. So in terms of how many factors do we have, we would say we have 6 factors, because ultimately what this means is that we have 6 5s. In the expression, x is called the base. All right, so we keep the base, which is a 4. Don't be afraid that it's a number. And we add the exponents. So this would be 4 to the 9th. Here's our base is a 5. Power to a power, we multiply. So this is 3 times 7, which would be 5 to the 21st. All right, when we have one like this, we break it up. So this is negative 3 squared, x to the first squared, y to the second squared. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Power to a power, I multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. All right, so we cannot have negative exponents. So what you need to do is you need to put this over 1, and then we're going to flip everything. So this now becomes 1 over 3 squared times, this one flips to the top, 3 to the third over 1, and 1 over 3 to the fourth. And remember, when you flip them, they become positive exponents. So now I multiply across. 1 times 3 to the third times 1 is 3 to the third. 3 squared times 1 times 3 to the fourth is 3 to the sixth. I just added my exponents. And now I've got 3 3's on top, 6 3's on the bottom. So those cancel, those cancel, those cancel. I'm left with 1 over 3 to the third because I've got 1, 2, 3 3's. And that could even go to 1 over 27. If you put it in your calculator, you're going to get this, but this is really what I'm looking for. I want to know that you know your exponent rules. All right, so I keep my base, which is the 2, and I'm going to add my exponents. So negative 3 plus 4 is 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. All right, evaluate. The first thing I need to do is take this section because I have a power to a power. So 2 to the third. So power to a power, I multiply. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Now I can bring down this 2 to the 7th. I keep my base. I add my exponents. So now I have 2 to the negative 2. I cannot have negative exponents, so I have to put that over 1, and I flip it to make it 1 over 2 squared. And 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. Both of these are correct. All right, rewrite with positive exponents. I do not have any powers to powers, so I just multiply my coefficients. 3 times 6 is 18, and I'm going to add my exponents. Make sure you put your 1 there. So m, negative 4 plus 1, n, 1 plus a negative 2, and that becomes 18m to the negative third, n to the negative first. Cannot have negative exponents, so I've got to move this guy and this one. So that becomes 18 over m to the third, n. All right, power to a power, I do that first. And I actually don't have any. So I keep the base, which this time is negative 3 in parentheses, and I add the exponents. So negative 3, 4 plus a negative 2 is 2. And that's the same thing as negative 3 times negative 3, which is a positive 9. So all of this is correct. All right. I don't have any powers to powers, so I start by multiplying my coefficients. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And then now I'm going to add my exponents. Y, negative 5th plus 1. So this would be negative 6, x. 2 plus a negative 2 is 0. Y, negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. Anything to the 0 is just 1. So essentially that goes away. And then I've got to take this one downstairs because it has a negative exponent. Negative 6 over y to the fourth. Remember, you can have negative coefficients all day. That's fine. You just cannot have negative exponents. All right, I have 5 3's on top and 4 3's on the bottom. And then I slash, and I'm left with 1 3 on top. So just 3. This is negative and then 3 times, like that. This is negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Okay, so 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, and then I've got my negative out here, so negative 27. Negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 is negative 27. So negative 27 divided by negative 27 is 1. All right, this one, remember, the exponent sees everything in parentheses. So you need to make this negative 2 all to the third and 5 to the third. And when I have a negative out front, I always just put it on the top. It's, to me, the easiest. So negative 2 to the third is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which is a negative 8. And then 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. All right, if I have a negative exponent outside, the first thing I do is flip what's inside the parentheses. Then now it's positive. So once again, I would say 4 squared over 3 squared. 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9. What is the degree? Degree just means you count up how much the exponents are. So this is b to the first. So the degree of this monomial would be 4 because I'm looking at the exponents, and the 3 plus 1 is 4. Over here, the degree of this monomial is 2, and all constants have a degree of 0. So to find the degree of the entire polynomial, I just take the highest one. So my degree is 4. All right, so the first thing we need to do is write this in standard form, so by highest degree. So this is 3x to the third plus 5x plus 7. So it says, what is the leading coefficient? The leading coefficient is this 3. And then it says, write it in standard form, classify the polynomial. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3 terms, so it's a trinomial. And my highest degree is the to the third, so it's a cubic. Write an expression that is not a monomial. In general, anything with a negative exponent is not a monomial. So 3m to the negative 4, 7x to the negative 9, negative 100x to the negative first, whatever. Anything with a negative exponent is not a monomial. What is the sum? So remember with sum, we just add them up. You don't have to worry about distributing anything. So I start with my m squares. So 7 plus 7 is 14, m squared. Negative 5m plus 3m is a negative 2m. And 4 minus 5 is negative 1. When I'm subtracting my polynomials, the first thing I do is distribute out this negative 1, which is the same thing as changing all the signs in the second polynomial. So negative 8s squared plus 2s minus 4, and then I just drop down my other polynomial. And don't be lazy on this part. Go ahead and rewrite it. Now we can combine like terms. So 12s squared minus 8s squared is 4s squared. A positive 8s plus 2s is a positive 10s, and negative 6 minus 4 is a negative 10. All right, so this is a monomial times a trinomial, so we just distribute. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Y cubed times y squared is y to the fifth. Negative 3 times negative 5 is a positive 15. Y cubed times y is y to the fourth. And negative 3 times 6 is negative 18, and then I've got that y to the third. And then before I move on, I need to make sure that they're in descending order. So I have y to the fifth, y to the fourth, y to the third. I'm good to go. All right, so we need a FOIL. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. And negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. Now I combine like terms. So I drop down my x squared. Negative 2x minus 4x is a negative 6x. And drop down your plus 8. All right. FOIL. 3 times 5 is 15. X times x is x squared. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9, and I have my x. 4 times 5 is a positive 20, and I have that x. And then 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And I combine like terms. I drop down my 15x squared. Negative 9x plus 20x is a positive 11x, and then minus 12. All right. 4 times 4 is 16. X times x is x squared. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, and then I have my x. 3 times 4 is a positive 12, and then I have my x. And 3 times negative 3 is a negative 9. Now I combine like terms. Drop down your 16x squared. Those are going to cancel, and then drop down your negative 9. Now remember, this you could also use special products, but just use your special products as a check method. The reason that we can is because if you look, our first terms are identical, our second terms are identical, and one's a plus, one's a minus. So in that case, what we do is we take the first term and square it, minus the second term and square it. So 4 times 4 is 16x squared, minus 3 times 3 is 9. So either way, you're getting the same answer. But use the special products as a check method. All right, this one we need to expand. So this becomes 4x minus 3 times 4x minus 3. Now we can distribute. 4 times 4 is 16. X times x is x squared. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, and then I have my x. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12, and I have my x. And then negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. Remember, when you have an entire binomial squared and you have to expand it, these should always be identical. And sure enough, they are. So now we just combine like terms. So 16x squared minus 24x plus 9. And there was a special products for that one, but I'm not going to even, let's not even go there. Just go ahead and expand it and FOIL it. All right, I'm pretty sure this said find the area. So the area equals length times width. So area equals, and it doesn't matter which one you do, but we'll say p squared q to the 5th is our length. Our width is p squared q. All right, I don't have any powers to powers, so I just add my exponent. So p, 2 plus 2 is 4. Q, 5 plus 1 is 6. This one said find the volume. Volume is equal to length times width times height. So volume is equal to 4y cubed times 3x squared y squared times 4xy to the 4th. I don't have any powers to power, so I start by just multiplying my coefficients. So 4 times 3 is 12 times 4 is 48. And I'm going to add my exponents. I'm going to start with my x's first. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight so I know where, and then those are my y's. All right. So we got x, 2 plus 1 is 3, and then my y, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 4 is 9. And then finally, perimeter. Perimeter, you add up all the sides. So this is perimeter equals 4x plus 3 plus x minus 3 plus x minus 3 plus 3x. All I did was add up all the sides. Now I combine like terms. 4x plus 1x plus 1x plus 3x. So 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9x. Positive 3 minus 3 minus 3 is a negative 3. And that's my perimeter.